council member asked me to bring up. Right now, council serves 2-year terms. So every 2 years, an election and the whole council is up to be reelected. There was an attempt to implement 4-year staggered terms. That is, you'd elect 3 council members this year. 2 years from now, you'd elect 3 council members and a mayor. 3, 4, 3, 4 every 2 years. What's the public feel? We tried to do this 2 years ago. It didn't work. Is there any sense from people here? 4-year staggered terms, good idea, bad idea? What are you talking about? I don't understand. Any comment from the public? Lynn?
I'm somebody who supported that. Carefree, Cave Creek, and Jerome and Tombstone are the only 4 towns in Arizona that do not have staggered 4-year terms. And this time we got a council that has 5 new people. And they're people who really wanted to work together and really wanted to learn everything. But it's been tough. The fact that our staff is so good and willing to work with them, and the fact that they wanted to learn is fantastic. But I mean, you do risk having a whole lot of new people, and that's really not ideal for them. And the 4-year staggered terms takes care of that. Our homeowners association staggers terms with our board members. I mean, it's real sensible to do staggered terms.
I'm just going to ask the council. They've been on board about, what, 6 months now? Are you up to snuff? Did you hit the ground running, or did it take 6 months to get acclimated and what it's all about?
Well, it took 3 or 4 months from the election date before I was even sworn in. We just had a long learning curve, as Lynn said. We're not the youngest pupils in the world. We have fixed ideas of what we'd like to do and see, but they beat us on the head often enough, we'll learn. But it is a learning curve. I'm not there as far as all the way, but I think I've got a good grasp of what's going on.
You're always learning, Tom. There's something to learn new every day. I go into town hall every day if I'm not sitting down with Betsy or Gary or Jim Keene, the accountant. You know, you're not doing your job. You're not learning something new. Especially all the state statutes just blow my mind. The problem with the 2-year term, and this is my 3rd term, what I see, let's say next election, this whole council decided not to run. All this work that we've put in over these 2 years and the visionary projects that we want to see and implement down the road as the money comes in, it might come to a halt. It might never come to fruit. Because 2 years goes by really quick. The 4 years, I too was in favor a couple of years ago for the staggered terms, just for that simple reason. Number one, you don't have a council that changes quickly. Because then there's always that learning curve and nothing gets done. You know. But I can honestly tell you right now with this council, because everybody does work so hard, you get as much out as the time you put into it. There is no certain amount of hours. How much do you want to accomplish? This council has accomplished more in 4 months than we did the last council.
I'd like to echo this. I think I'm still learning. 6 months, 7 months, whatever it's been. Some of us still get our hands slapped because we're not following government protocol. Most of us
I didn't mean to.
most of us have worked in the corporate world, and you know, when you want to get something done, you get together and you talk to people and you get it done. Well, as Jimmy would say, get her done. And it's a little more difficult in the government world, and you have to have open meeting laws, and it just takes longer. Now I understand why our national government seems to take forever to get something done. And again, the staggered terms, it just makes sense to have some people on the council that have continuity, that know what has gone in the past, especially, for instance, this Boulder situation and closing the waste treatment plant there. Thank God we have people that, like the mayor, that knows what's gone on before over the last 10 years. And as far as what Glenn has said about you put so much effort into trying to make the town better, and all these projects and the costing out of them. And then to think that, okay, in another year and a half, you know, this thing may just slide into the dust, because as most of you probably know, if you're in charge of a project, if you're not there to push it and get it done, it can die. So I'm very much in favor of staggered terms and 4-year terms.
Sides on, or why don't we just do that?
Well, we would just do that means the people vote. The council cannot implement staggered terms on its own. It has to go to a vote of the people. The council, the last time it was done by a petition from the citizens to put the issue on a ballot. The council can also do that. And I'm simply asking this because somebody on the council said, hey, I'm new to the council and now I understand, and I'd like to see what this group thinks about it.
When I look at the most hardest working individual on the council is Glenn Miller. You go downtown, that white panel truck is there all the time. I'm sure there are days when the town crew would wish he would stay home, or the fire department. But Glenn has devoted, you know, thousands of hours. And what we're finding is that each of us are taking a piece. Mike Farrar and I have been taking a piece and going out on our own, completely separate from our council priority deal, see if we can find new tenants for vacant buildings. And it looks like our specific efforts might have found one last week that will be a delight if they come up here. But in answer to your question, the first 6 months is a learning, as Melissa said. You know, Betsy hits you over the head, you can't do that, you know. Mike, our attorney, says, you know, you're not a citizen anymore, you're a citizen plus, so you can't say that, you know. The last 6 months of a 2-year term, you're totally ineffective if you're not going to run again. And if you watched any of Lynn's videos from the last 6 months of the former council, when all 5 of them were leaving, they were totally ineffective. There wasn't but 1 or 2 items that actually got done in that. 4-year terms, staggered, could make an awful lot of sense to Carefree.
I would have to think it would be awfully hard on staff too to turn over council every 2 years and start that whole learning curve.
I also think 4-year stagger just makes the most sense. You get continuity, and not so much so that any rogue council would have full power for 4 years. You have the ability to wound it if it's doing something stupid by electing 3 of the 4 out. So I'm not worried about that.